No matter what I do, I can't let go. I don't know how to forget you. I can't forget you. You're always on my mind. I do the things that I should do, so I can't forget, but you're always on my mind. Thought you'd be gone by tomorrow, but you're still there tomorrow, and the next day, the next day. I wish I wouldn't remember how you make me feel better in the best ways, the best ways. Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like, oh yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone, yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you.
Help us go electric, become a member.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, Ulti TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and
fund
fund our
work
work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with Ulti TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at Ulti TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
We have finally arrived at women's finals here at Tom's Tourney 2023, and what a matchup we have in front of us. BFD, Bologna Shout versus Great Britain's women's national team. Myself, Hannah Pendlebury, comparing this alongside Charlotte Terrason, and we are delighted. The parity in this women's division, Charlotte, 0 teams with a clean sheet coming into the championship bracket finals here. Both of these two teams ahead of us have had losses. So what's the journey been like coming through to this final?
Well, we know that on one side, Shout had 1 loss against France women back in the crossover games in the power bracket. Team that France was beaten by GB, actually, who is now facing Shout, which is interesting. We like these triangles, see what is the outcome of those. GB women haven't met Shout yet during this tournament, so first time meeting in finals, what better way? And what about the GB women?
Well, GB women, again, they've had a pretty strong record, some really punishing defeats, sort of going to the full 15 score cap in a couple of their games. They've had a decent journey. They, of course, had that loss to Jinx on the live stream in Power Pool stages, a very talented, star-studded, but quite short roster for Jinx, who have managed to get themselves into the 3-4 matchup here at Tom's, but not quite the big show that we have in front of us. But yeah, they had a good game this morning. We saw GB advance over the French women in their semi-final matchup this morning. A very fiery set on defense, but I feel a little bit like the French maybe gave that game away in some respects.
Yes, we were talking about this during the game. France didn't seem to be in their mindset, not really playing their game, not playing 100%. So GB also probably didn't show all the power they've got. And I think this is the opportunity now to see what is the real power on this GB team 2023 for Limerick later in this season.
Absolutely, eyes on the prize up in Limerick in July. The Italian women's team will be a slightly different format, I think, to some of the years we've seen it. Some players having kind of, you know, a little bit of maybe a season of considering where and when they want to play their ultimate in the Italian women's program. But certainly this one is going to be a heck of a matchup. We hope, starting out on offense, Bonfante with the disc in the centre field, shooting for Bologna, Anna Czeski, long-time talisman of the Bologna Shout outfit's going to maybe overthrow it. Can she make the connection? There's a bid, but it's just a little too far. Lisa Capucci with a rare error.
Capucci going everywhere. I mean, look at her go, run, give everything she has, even the layouts, continue sliding even past the disc. But that shot was just too far to get in the hands of a receiver.
Well, an opportunity early doors for Great Britain. Nat Oldfield looking a little bit lost for options, has the reset coming through from Payne. And we've had already some money where the mouth is from Conor McHale in the chat, £5 on GB women to win. Gibson Had a very fiery defensive effort in the first one, puts up a big shot to fellow Spice teammate Payne, but that's going to be picked off by Gaia Pancotti.
I mean, half of the Italian national team is made of Shout players, so it is almost as meeting the Italian team. It would be a GB Italy matchup here.
Well, a few extra options added to Kursk. It's not a pure Italian women's national team. They have some Latvian action amongst them. And of course, you could not talk about Martina Kmecheva coming across from the mixed division to show us exactly what she's capable of achieving in women's. That's going to be a huge redemption potentially for Payne. But Pancotti just stopping her from being able to get fully aerial. But hustle and tussle. Grindy opening point. Huge grab from Bonfante.
Bonfante keeping that possession this time, making sure it stays in her hands.
This time it's going to be a Pearl. Well, no bid comes from Elisa Capucci.
I think everyone on Shout team wants to see Capucci run more because they keep throwing it just too far for her.
Everything a little bit flustered. The release point on that throw from Bonfante, who's usually pretty picture perfect. She was way too sat back. Body weight not quite there, but that just bobbles out of the fingers of Nat Oldfield. High one, Chesky in plenty of space and room. Going to throw the truss ball to Pancotti. Can she connect? Yes, she can. And there we go after some scrappy play. It's Bologna Shout with the first hold to open us up.
That was a clumsy start for Shouters. I mean, even for GB, they had possession of the disc many times, and there were unfortunate miscommunication, mid-throws. Took a bit longer than expected for this point to be scored, but here it is. Shout all-line assuring a score for their team as beginning the game.
Yeah, not the start that Shout would want. They are a team with a lot of very capable athletes, but maybe getting a bit overexcited. The overall shot there of the aerial scenes here at Tom's Tourney. Of course, delighted to be back in Bruges for another season. This, well, not quite opening event. There are earlier outdoor ones you can go to. Of course, the French women's team, as we've mentioned a couple of times on this live stream, went and won Siege of Limerick, which is obviously... I'm surprised we didn't see more national teams turn up to Siege, considering it's in the literal place where Europeans is this season.
I think that's a point. It's a travel to get there for a lot of teams. It's up in the north and not so many people want to commit to go there. Bruges is already far enough. Limerick is too far.
Oh, that's a big bomb from Hannah Brew, connecting the two captains of the GB women's side. Naden in the end zone with no one there to put any pressure on.
That was a laser pointing at the end zone like this. Oh my. That went really fast. What a precise and strong shot.
And look at the pass count, just going and getting it done. So an ideal start to the Great British campaign towards a gold medal. And we have some very fetching trophies here at Tom's Tourney, some fantastic wooden discs that have been carved out. One of those sorts of things you could... Not many people have mantelpieces these days. They're not really popular in modern decor, so that's something you can really hang on your wall.
And they smell really good. They have a good wood smell. I mean, it is weird to go try to smell a trophy, but I really suggest you to try.
I guess wood is likely to smell a little bit more fragrant than metal is. I'm looking forward to seeing more of that Kubliczka-Yorlith matchup as this game develops, but it's Shout coming out on offense with a not vertical stack, a horizontal stack, and grinding these undercuts. Venturi hopping through, giving and going. Oh, there's the connection into the end zone. That's going to trail a little bit left, but look at the positioning on Elena Bengi.
Great positioning. Bengi always with the timing. Getting nice and easy free in the end zone for the big shot, for another score for all line of Shout. You might notice also that someone, a famous face that everyone knows on Shout, is missing. other than Irene Scazzeri, which we already talked about, trying out in the US, San Francisco, San Diego. Right now, there's also Laura Farolfi missing here on the shout line. The lady officially took retirement of Ultimate. She did her job.
She didn't come play some Masters though, surely.
I know,
She's eligible.
She is eligible, but she's really stopping, saying if she plays, she's giving 100% really, and don't want to commit only half.
Oh, so she's not going to become one of those semi-retired Ultimate players that only plays Party Beach. I have to say, it was quite funny seeing Anna Czeski at the Beach Club Championships with Diogo Benito last year. And
that was surprising.
Czeski felt like a mere mortal on sand. So grass is clearly her surface.
Yeah, sand is clearly not her field. I mean, she's still good at it, no doubt about this, but she personally doesn't enjoy playing on sand, which was a biggest surprise to see her there then.
I mean, she still moves really well across the
Oh
sand,
yeah,
but
this
it's just
for
a
sure.
completely different thing. Neve hitting Lucy as the Bolognians put on a zone. One very tight mark, loose cup of three surrounding the handler. Van Krieken looking around for options, goes back to Kwok. Fakes the scuba, not so believably, a bit more snap on your scuba fakes for those watching at home. Brew.
Say what?
Pop over the top to Naden. There is space laterally across the field if you can get over that cup or get around the back of it. Make them have to run around a bunch, but a melt to match by the looks of it. Dahlman finally coming and getting involved. Brew now out on a string for Van Krieken, and there we go, a great read of Great Britain's own 51 on 51 fire in the end zone. That's Van Krieken with the score.
Gorgeous outside to the end zone. The shot player Rabaya couldn't do anything to get there. She would have had to go through the body of the receiver, which we don't want here in a non-contact game as Ultimate.
Well, it's an exact sort of, mirror image of the previous score for Shout, where you saw that fantastic boxing closing the door on Van Zijl's defense, or Van Zijl, sorry. And this is exactly, going toe-to-toe, doing the same thing that you just did. A nice curving flick across the top. And shutting the door on the Rabaglia. But a good, solid hold for GB's women. 16 passes to do it against the Italian zone. Do you like that slow-down approach?
I mean, you have to slow down anyway. If there is a zone, you cannot just force it. Unless there is an opening and you take it as soon as possible, for sure. But you don't need to rush anything against the zone. This is not the game you want to play. And shouters know how to deal with this as well as GB does.
So some clamping on the stack. In fact, this looks like perhaps a zone of GB's own. Trying to just surround the players on the pitch and play some help defense. Bengi trying to exploit it though. Capucci now. Baroni. Easy dish back. Couple of extra steps, nearly the block for Ellie Payne. Oh, and that's a lovely find, but she's dropped it. Oh, Venturi. That's a bad miss.
That was unexpected, the throw and the drop. What a fast read from Bengi after a quick fake. Blading it outside blade.
It's just a lack of focus, that was a really nice disc. It might have had a bit of pace on it, but that was an opportunity squandered by Shouts to hold that. Czeski with the huge bid, but can't stop Oldfield. Is it going to be Payne? Yes, it is, and that's the break. First attack.
What a great bid by Czeski to try to get a hand on this disc, but just not enough, and GB gets out of this point with a break. Gibson for the score. Great catch, great continuation. Amazing counter-attack from the GB ladies.
But the support on Shout there, you see the little bit of just confidence building, trying to get Constanza Venturi to just have a short memory, forget that missed opportunity right in the end zone. No one near her, just a straight up drop, but that great attack from Anna Cheshki getting horizontal at about shoulder height. Well, we said sand's not her surface, but it's like she's floating on air when she plays on grass.
She definitely looks flying, and even try to take off at some point here.
And welcome, welcome, those of you who are joining us live. Pleased to have you alongside. Of course, I'm sure people will be watching this footage from Tom's Tourney, available to you live and on demand for free, so you can assess your opponents, of course, whether that's for club championships or national championships. But Bengi towards the end zone, good a couple of steps on Neve. Nice leading pass. Oh, that is lovely end zone line isolation play.
Nice move. I mean, you have Bengi isolated, you have Bonfante with the Ds. What else can come out of this than a hug directly to Bengi?
Well, that will level us up. GB women leading the charge with that one break ahead. The Italians won the toss, although it's slightly less of an impactful winning or losing of the toss, i.e. choosing or to start on offense or defense. Although choosing to start on defense is always a risky move. But this time we do have proper half times here in the finals. There's still 60-minute game slots, but you play a timed half or a half cap, so whoever gets to 8 first will have a brief stoppage, and we'll get some insider information from Stefan Rapazzo when we get to halftime, which I'm looking forward to.
Oh, I can't wait to see what Rapazzo has to tell us about these teams, this play.
He's a smart Frisbee man, high IQ, in Frisbee terms.
Let's keep it in Frisbee. For the rest.
A very talented man. What do they call him? Renaissance man. Man of many talents.
A man who's starting a new channel on YouTube. Go see this. What must Rapazzo eat?
I believe it's everything. But hide.
Back on the field, back on the game.
Indeed.
For the gold medal on this Tom's Tourney 2023.
Oh, a rifle around break from Hannah Thompson. Her first season appearing for Great Britain. Nice to see that young talent coming through. Avril Hunter, who started way back in the junior scene. Appeared at the World Championships in 2010 with the under-20 women's squad and has had many senior caps to her name. And Hyde attacking against this zone. I do like the way it is slowing down Great Britain's offense. Trying to threaten that one around. Big swing across to Kwok.
I was about to say, Great Britain seems to be struggling in front of this zone from Shout. No options to be seen downfield.
I'd like to see a bit, maybe at these ones over the top trying to hit Kwok, rather than going for the backhand. If you can put Kwok in sort of a bit of a deeper pocket, to see Brew coming in to try and make some more of a difference. It'd be nice to see the kind of be a bit more aggressive. That's a lovely find to Van Krieken. Dahlman to Hunter. Does well to stay with legs vertical on this slippery, wet surface. It's been churned up.
Only a flow.
Absolutely, flow straight into the end zone. And then that's it. Nice and simple and easy does it for Great Britain. Nice to see the little celebration there for Hunter. She's a very positive individual. And congrats also to Gail Hunter, twin, who's just recently had her first baby 6 months ago.
Congratulations.
Creating the future of Ultimate. That's the great thing about you know,
making babies. You're making more Ultimate players.
Wow, you know,
making your own team.
More athletes, right? Whether or not they play Ultimate, we love to see.
Why do you want kids to have a team?
And we love to see that pole roll into the back corner, the corner of doom, possibly. Cheshki, it's a high one. Oh, Oldfield has a go at getting the Callahan. That would have been sensational scenes of that rolling bladey pole. Infante reaching into the far pocket. That's a really nice find for Capucci.
That was a real dangerous situation. Chesky had said no question that Callahan can happen, no, under her watch.
Bit of an attack on the underneath from Wedge, gives it up a bit. Chesky with a little stumble, but all good and functional. Baroni popping through back to Chesky. Having a look at the options, going to need some kind of reset soon. Oh, good bounce back to Capucci. The other. Both sisters like to play on the same line together. Sometimes you separate siblings, sometimes you put them together. But these two twins trying to work together. Oh, lovely find for Chesky and an easy dish into the end zone. Giulia Baroni with the goal for Shout. And we continue to trade.
Lovely point. Big pressure from GB women in this end zone after a great rolling pull. That was so close to Callahan. Just missing few inches to get above Chesky. I mean, this is a fight if you want to sky the lady.
If I'm the D-line captain or coach for GB right now, though, I'm not unhappy. That was not a comfortable point for Shout. You had to see that, that press right back in the end zone, that kind of, that breathing. Well, I mean, not only are the defenders close, but it's that kind of mild panic mode. Because obviously these are very capable athletes, top of their game across the board, both teams. But that kind of, that there's extra pressure when you're there, and then really having to, take on some shots, and it's coming good for Bologna. Lady Luck is currently smiling upon them.
It went out okay, but that was a stressful situation, especially that pass. That was a high stall, try to survive throw.
Absolutely, and if you can keep that pace and that intensity throughout the game, it can often yield results when you get to the crunch zone. Big old poach on Thompson, taken. It's going to go too far though and float past Rachel Naden.
That is the chance for a break here for Shout.
Akorsi to Kublicka. Oh, and there's about 3 attempts for her to try and catch that. She tumbles to the ground. Immediately puts the force on Brew. Low throw through to Yorwith.
Lovely low release in the break side.
Hyde having to grind all the way backwards, using about 10 meters of space. That one's going to go loopy loo. Yorwith picking it out though with a casual one-handed classic Yorwith grab. Naden, the flat one high, the teeny tiny Hunter. Oh, that's a nice piece of offense. GB hold on for dear life.
Great keeping of the possession by GB, saving each one of these discs and retrieving the point after a few turns, scary turns.
That was great defense from Shout. Get another look at that one-handed cash grab.
And Akorsi had a position to the disc, but had to risk the contact to get the defense, and nice decision of not rushing into the defense, into the persons, and starting collision.
Well, score currently 5-4 to Great Britain, leading the trading up, as you might say. And we've got nearly 500 people watching this game, so get vocal in the chat. We want to hear from you. Please tell us where you're watching, who you are supporting, and do please consider also becoming a patron of Ulti TV. Patreon.com/Ulti TV. For the price of less than a coffee a month, you can support and make sure we can bring you all of the season events here in Europe and beyond. Pancotti under huge pressure from Heather Gibson. High one up to Capucci. GB's D-line working tirelessly, and they get a turnover thrown to no man's land.
That was confusion among the Bolognese players. Capucci aiming for her teammates. who just didn't understand Venturi, confused, thinking it was for someone else behind her. And GB women now trying to get that point, score a break.
Offhand toss from Wedge to Cauldron. Low and flat hills now with the no-mo short shorts from her former university team, Hawks of West Sussex. And that's going to be, oh my goodness, what a casual drop from Molly Wedge. That's just not what you expect to see, but it might go straight back the other way. It does. Heather Gibson with the block in the backfield after a rushed pass from Shout.
Bonfote doesn't seem happy with her decision.
Well, it's a change of pace. GB switching to playing some match defense after putting on zones, or both sides have. Trying to change that rhythm and intensity. A laser to the end zone, and it's rescued. Eliza Capucci with a layout block.
What a layout, D! Damn, preventing the break from GB women. Capucci is here saying, nope, this is our offense. We're gonna score this one.
Enjoy watching Bonfote, just checking the disc, making sure it's fine after that explosive layout bid. All the way across the end zone, Pancotti going to the knees to make sure that the possession is retained. Cheshki, single-handed grab, Cash as always, lovely inside. Bengi rips it into the deep space. Wedge on the attack and gets in front. There might be a call. Is there a call? There is not. That was clean as it gets. Costanza Venturi got beaten.
That was a nice defense from a GB player, catching up. Molly Wedge making her way to the disc, to the defense for her teammates to get back the
she needed to. She needed to because it was her drop that had given it away in the first place. Well, for that possession. There's been trading. We've got 3 turnovers for BFD Shout, 2 for GB. This for the break. Sarah Hills in the backfield. Nearly the action man roll catch, but throwing directly into Cauldron. She's not on your team. She's wearing red, and a timeout at long last is going to give us a break.
Oh yes, please. This is a really good call because now a lot is happening. People seem to be stressing, not knowing what to do anymore. Take a time to chill and think about your strategy.
Well, I think that is a very wise move from Reading's Ruth Cauldron. And as the athletes out here on the pitch take a brief breather, so will we. We'll bring you more of this women's final after these messages.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with Ulti TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
We are back. There are jingles happening here at Tom's, but they have no relevance to this match, this women's final in front of us between Great Britain women and BFD Bologna Shout. Myself, Hannah Penderbury, in the booth with Charlotte Tedderson, former Shout player, on the way back to the pitch, recovering, rehabbing, doing all of the work imaginable. And this has been quite the game so far. We have about 6 minutes left of the first half. Thoughts, feelings, concerns, Charlotte?
I mean, tight game, 5-4. Here, GB has possession and might be able to score another break to make a wider gap in the scores, putting them in a more comfortable position for the rest of the final. But you never know, both of these teams are hungry for victory and they are fighters.
Absolutely, GB women are a vibes team all day. And another drop for Molly Wedge. That one just seems to ping straight off of her chest. Pancotti to Cheshki. Has an opportunity potentially outline, but chooses popping it to Pancotti. Oh, I like that little hook move around the back about it. Of course, Ultimate, beautifully self-refereed sport. Takes a lot of maturity to play that kind of thing.
It does. You have to talk with the opponent calmly. You have to be fair. You cannot just say whatever to make your point. So we have a retracted call.
Yeah, retracted foul, and GB will have possession with the full stretch to go.
With the chance for the break again.
Can they catch the Frisbee?
Oh.
Can. Oh my goodness, Sarah Jeffrey picking up a whole shovel of dirt on that red jersey. Layla Denniston underneath. Van Sale sailing off towards the end zone. Pancotti on the chase. And look at that grab over the top of the pack. Amy Van Sale with the goal for Great Britain. And that's another break, 6-4.
Denniston for the big hug in the end zone. What an air fight. We like to see people get up in the sky. Extending, full body extension for the disc. This is a very beautiful picture. People skiing, I love it. This is actually even the logo for the official Ultimate logo for the World Games. For example, it is a person jumping high for reaching for the disc.
It is flying disc as it's known at the World Games. The IOC having recognised Ultimate as an Olympic eligible sport back in 2010, if my memory serves, or around the early 2010s. And a fantastic grab from Sarah Jeffrey in that last point.
Does flying disc include disc golf? It is a flying disc. Technically, it would be like saying a rolling ball for soccer.
No, flying disc is the name of the discipline itself, I believe, for Ultimate. So, but it might be. I'll tell you what, we will find out. But if you know, if you're one of those amazing Frisbee nerds currently watching this game, all nearly 500 of you, then please do tell us. Shot over the top. Oh my goodness, what a pick off Nat Oldfield. Well,
Infante really upset with this, but she needs to stay focused, don't lose her mind, and get the disc back.
That Oldfield exploded onto the UK women's scene about 2 or 3 seasons ago with Bristol women, but that's going to be an overthrow, gave it all away. Conservation of greatness after that fabulous block. And so half of this game has expired, 30 minutes from our game clock. So we will now have a cap +1 from this point to decide who will win the first half. You see Scattieri grinding at the front of the end zone. Now Pancotti over the shoulder. Kate Gibson throwing her arms in the air saying, where was my sideline? Where was my help? Big old poach in the lane, but face mark throws around.
That is the look we know from Infante, putting the disc exactly where it needs to be, despite of the defense poaching, as you were saying, Hannah. She found the way through for the disc.
Well, I take it back. It's not +1 on a cap for the halftime. That is just halftime. So 6-5 at the moment. GB women lead over Bologna Shout. But we're going to throw it down to Steph Rapazzo for some halftime action.
Come on, break!
Thanks for joining the Tokai Halftime Show here at Tom's Tourney 2023 Women's Final. Been producing all sorts of action. Let's have a look at those first half highlights here. There's a look at Capucci going down, having a chase at that one. Gaia Pancotti getting in front, getting a block. Bologna have been doing everything they can to stay in this game despite the Brits staying ahead by 1. Continuing on, having a look here as GB gets some momentum of their own. Big huck by Bruges. Length of the field. And these highlights keep coming. Benga has been having a great game. That should have been an assist. It did go to turf, and it went the other way. That one hurt the Bolognese shout team. Now you see a Molly wedge. Huck going the length of the field. That one connects. And the Brits keep piling it on. They have a 6-5 lead as Bologna scored to close out the half. Elena Bengi again putting her mark on this game. There's the assist to Baroni. Bonfante here. Bologna doing everything they can. We have a cracking affair in this women's final for Tom's Tourney, the prestigious event that it is. And we're very thankful that Tokai is bringing us this halftime show and these halftime replays, highlights, and player profiles. There's so much action coming up in the second half. You don't go anywhere. Stay put, stay ready, and we'll be back for second half action.
Well, Great Britain coming out on offense in this second half, leading the charge 2 breaks ahead of their Italian opponents. Bologna's shout currently fighting to stay alive, and we see a reappearance of the zone, trying to generate some turnovers. Hyde in the center of this big Poachy Cup, looking around for Kwok. Good adjustment. Lucy Hyde with the quick moves, just gaining a good couple yards, but a melt to normal defense. Hunter going across with the spin move. Van Krieken. Oh, but throws into the ankles of Rachel Naden. The captain can't do anything about that one, just now having to adjust and adapt and play some fiery defense. But an opportunity huge here for Shout. A little bit of a loose throw up that far sideline, and it's going to tumble out of the hands. Francesca Uglioni.
What an unfortunate outcome of this throw. It was nicely put.
I'm not really a big fan of that option at the moment. Shout are a little bit up against the wall. It's the same third throw. It looked like not the nicest release.
Oh, it's definitely not the easiest one and not the clearest shot you would like to have, but this one is very nicely put for the GB women.
Yeah, a bit of a missed opportunity there for Bologna, and an easy one for Great Britain. Not sure where the defense was when that possession started, but it was certainly nowhere near Rachel Naden, and that's the whole out of the half. 7-5 Great Britain in the lead.
Great job by GB women, losing no time, hucking it all the way through the other side of the pitch. For the GB women, totally left alone, no defense to be seen. Shatter should, as you say, maybe stop rushing things into passes they don't necessarily control very well, or to players that are not very free. And
well, it's the difference of that same third shot, that kind of, you know, in momentum, in big swing, kind of like big gun go. When you're in front in a game, or where things are going well for you and you're hitting your serves, you're on it, I like that shot. It's okay. But when it's you're behind in a game, you need to value the disc, you need to maintain possession. We know BFD Shout. We know that BFD Shout are more than capable of stringing together as many passes as they need to advance themselves all the way to the end zone. Bonfante now, though, the veteran handler for Shout, the high dish backhand over the shoulder of the mark. Huge effort from Molly Wedge, and turns it over with about a third to go. Caudron picking up immediately to Wedge. Big blade over the top. Oh, wow. Shout, what are you doing on defense? Another red shirt all alone in about 5 meters perimeter of space.
GB women really stepped up and are making amazing defense pressure and scoring all their breaks. But Shouters are in a very dangerous position now because, as we were saying, for the guys of La Fota, it goes also for the Shouters. In such situation, the mental, psychological mental part is very important because you have to stay calm and get the job done properly and keep staying positive and cheering up for your team, and don't get mad or angry, or everyone's a bit angry at yourself, like at himself, herself in this such situation when you do mistakes and so, but
well,
positive.
Speaking after the loss that the Italians took yesterday, I was talking to them ahead of their next game, and it was, okay, so how are we feeling about this? What's the vibe on the Italians? Is it that you're gonna yell at each other, or is it that you're gonna have that fire in your belly, that attack, that energy? And we know that Shout are capable of dragging themselves out of the hole that they're currently in. It's just whether or not they're going to. Bit of an air bounce there from Benki. We like to see it. Pancotti, easy dish to Cheshki. Might have to see some line tightening, of course. This is the last game here at Tom's Tourney for these women's matches. So they'll be more than happy to put their stars out. The ones with, you know, decades plus of experience. Lovely shot across to Cheshki. Oh, an offhand toss into the path of Scazzieri.
With the famous lefty backhand from Cheshki, always in front of the zone.
Well, step one complete, hold your offense. Now, what are Shout gonna do to try and get the disc from GB and then put it in? Because step one on that plan, they've been doing fairly consistently. We haven't seen that many clean holds in this game, considering the level. What would you do if you're the D-line for Shout?
I think the most efficient so far. Oh, good question, because they've been slowing down the GB offense with the zone, but they managed to get their way through it every time. While on person defense, Shouters managed to get some discs, and all these turns happen during person defense. So I think the call is easy, and I would go for person defense, especially when you have such lines, such hungry players. I know they want to chase discs.
Absolutely. Maybe some smart positioning, maybe trying to bait some blocks a little bit, but also just try and get GB's handler set, leaning back when they're releasing their throws. Some lovely give-go action to gain those extra few yards from Brew and Hyde. Starting us off, Dahlman grinding under mark by Scazzieri, but Brew commits to that, poached off Van Krieken. Brew really wanting to get the disc back, being well marked by Kublicka.
As I think it will be easier to force errors exactly like this by forcing on person defense.
Excellent switching from Cusp, makes some confusion. Neve trying to get the defensive bid, but what a grab for Gaia Pancotti. And the first break for Shout. The campaign is on.
Great point. Good lecture from Pancotti, who kept a good position, didn't get dragged by the defense, who misread this disc as a hard one to read. I mean, floating above their heads. But this worked out. Great job to catch up one break.
Yeah,
got a score of 8-7 now.
Indeed. Shout starting to advance themselves forward a little. Push. Are they going to push GB off of the top of this game, though? That was nice defense. Again, like we said, the match coverage And the switching downfield really working out for Shout as well. In fact, I think that's what sort of confused that space, that bracketing. And a throw. Kvechova, not really a block, just basically just collecting the throw that was to who? I don't know.
For a fast counter-attack and hacking it straight away in the zone for Pancotti.
So GB's O-line. Sarah Jeffrey to get us started. Heather Gibson nearly overthrowing her sister. Having started playing the sport because of that. Oh, Nat Oldfield, lovely hands.
Beautiful catches on this team. And Kmeshova for the defense, stepping in front of her player.
Oh, that was an easy one to take away. Thrown into coverage, more or less. Not many players can run through block Layla Denniston, that's for sure. So can we get another defensive conversion here for Shout? Corsi squeezing it through to Kubicka. Firing one into the soft side, wedge on the attack. Oh my goodness, what a sky! Scazzieri, you ruthless human. More of those, please. Oh, my heart. A call off the play. Foul is somewhere in the pack by the looks of the hand signals.
What a beautiful catch. How did she manage to keep this one in her hands?
Sofia Scazzieri, and that is the goal collected by Kublicka. A violation has been called on the field. Technically incorrectly. You're supposed to close your fists when you signal the violation, hand signal, just so that you're not being confused with signaling a score.
Yeah, because both signs are very similar. Normally for the score you flex your arms, but flexing, not flexing, a bit difference is very tiny, so use your fists.
But no punching. So players will have a chat and say, did that affect? Oh no, contested foul, there we are. Too much spin moving somewhere in the stack. So getting us back underway, Erika Marcassini. Popping around, going to get that one straight back. Look at the effort from Gibson. Shoots. Oh, and there's a bobble, but it's kept. Lady luck, Federica Corsi with the goal.
Amazing, chipped in the hands of the next receiver.
Well, they say you make your own luck. that was bizarre, but it will work, and we're back on level. GB in front, but 8s apiece.
And this is another break, so one break away to take the lead for Shout. GB has to get back and score their offense. It's been 2-3 points in a row now for GB. Struggling a little bit with their O-line, having to face a new defense from Shout, who seem to have waken up. GB still leading 8-8, but they are starting on offense.
Well, evidently Martina Kmechova playing lots of Mac line.
Mac line?
The game that you see sometimes Frisbee players playing, where you throw a disc and you have to touch it but not stop it.
Oh,
what do you call it, Charlotte?
Line, tip line.
Tip line. Oh, okay, I like that.
I mean, if it's what it takes to get in the end zone and not in front of it, why not? I mean, it's against the rules,
yeah,
obviously.
Not allowed to do it intentionally. That would be a naughty thing. So, a zone from Shouts trying to frustrate GB, and they get the block. Rising and ascending over the top, Marcassini.
What is happening to GB? What are these decisions? Throwing weird discs. Maybe they cannot get free, but
just trying some strange options. That was a little bit too much lean back, which is why it popped up into the sky. Rabaglia, though, one of the people you want with the disc in hand on these D-line possessions. Trying to get on offense, Kvechova. Nice low one into Scazzieri. Seeing lots of the familiar faces. I think Shout are tightening up their lines. Bit of a bump on the mark from Naden, but all fair. Kvechova looking for options. High one, Naden lays, but can't quite connect. Rabaglia thinks about the lead, might have to go over the top. She does. That one's going to be scooped off. Potentially, nope, that just falls to nobody. Trying to hit Bonacini.
No other options to be seen. Rabaglia had to huck it in the end zone, away and another. I don't know if she was aiming at Martina Kvechova. They seem to have a eye contact, something. In the rush.
I thought it might have also been something floaty. Just like, you're a tall player.
Yeah.
Let's have a go. But but a high stall situation for sure. And Great Britain will launch one to Coman, who's running it down, but that one's just going to float in an ugly way over her head. Bit too much edge on that big backhand ripper from Rachel Naden.
Not sure that's what you'd really like to play in this situation for GB women. You have to keep the disc. You don't want to lose it. It's your offense point. Already been 3 breaks in a row. You gotta make sure you score them, and you have other ways to reach for the end zone. They've been struggling with this, but there must be other solution.
It's feeling a little bit like how Shout were playing in the first half of this game when GB were ahead. It's taking those Route 1 options that are just not necessary. Scazzieri throws into traffic though, and that will be all over. Rachel Naden. Lucy Hyde trying to get to the break side. Offhand, backhand, but throws into the defense. Not sure what Bru was thinking there.
Weird decision as well. When high stall, you have to throw it anyway, but why go for a left then? Again, a defense.
I'm not sure Naden really tried too hard to stop herself there, but that was a weird, weird point, reminiscent of the opener where we saw so many turns. That's 3 turnovers apiece for GB's holding their offense after conceding 2 breaks. So a bit of a stumble in the red camp.
It was a special point. Let's call it special.
Special in a good way, or special in a, that was a particularly special specimen.
That's the idea, but Rachel Naden made sure that the disc will stay in possession of GB women with 2 great defenses, getting in the way of the shot and retrieving the disc for her teammates and herself.
Well, we do have lots of support in the chat for Great Britain. Jane Thompson says, go GB, GB. There are some people that are just putting flags in the chat, which is always fun. And a shout out from Maria Bastoni to say that Elisa Capucci is her MVP so far for this game. Although I think Sofia Scazzieri has really turned it on at moments. But GB looking to get themselves back and forward.
Pancotti is also doing really well, as well as Bengi. I mean, a lot of players have been shining on this game.
So a zone that I'm sure will melt after the required number of passes. Anna Cheshki just stretching the deep space with Deniston there. Pancotti to Bengi. Oh, quick release immediately. A little slide. It is really slippery out here on the fields. Almost like playing zone. Allows your opponents the ability to stay on their feet as things get more slippery and churn towards these end zones. Pancotti opening it around, backhand. Quick pop from Cheshki, just shy of the goal line. Oh, and a stumble around from GB's defense. Deniston trying everything she can, completely losing her footing. And that's a goal and a quick hold for Shout. They can keep converting those offensive points that quickly. Might make a real difference.
Very beautiful point. A lot of passes going everywhere, moving the disc back and forth, side to side, everywhere. The flow didn't stop until they reached the score.
Oh, and here we are. Excellent Frisbee nerdery in the chat from Sean Colfer to answer the question of if flying disc included disc golf. It does not. Disc golf, actually, to be fair, good reminder, has recently been added to the next World Games as a separate event from flying disc.
Okay. So then why calling it flying disc though?
They don't want to call it ultimate? I feel like many members of the Frisbee community would also prefer not to call it ultimate.
No, ultimate is definitely not a good idea, because whenever you talk with someone, like, what do you do in life? What sport? Oh, I do ultimate. Like, ultimate fight? You're a fighter? No. Ultimate flying disc.
I mean, Charlotte, I'd back you in a cage.
That would be amazing. I would be great at it, I'm sure. But I'd rather chase some plastic frisbees.
Well, are you? I don't know. Have you ever done sock wrestling?
No.
All right, maybe we'll have to get that on a stream at some point for you. But moving our eyes back to the game in front of us, this flying disc action. Ultimate Frisbee here in the women's final of Tom's Tourney 2023. GB on the charge, looking to keep themselves with their faint, thin, hair's breadth advantage over Shout, who have been on a fiery comeback in this second half. Dahlman, the Scot, currently residing in London, playing for Iceni, finds Naden. Big fake around, high grab for Avril Hunter and a star jump just to give it a little bit of pizzazz. A strip for sure. Lavaglia kind of contacting with Avril Hunter.
Can't wait to have a look at this star jump.
Absolutely, but we'll have to have a bit of play first, but throws almost into the poach of Kmechova. Well, it's not really a poach, just their arms. I like that, not going for the bid from the Shout defense. Van Krieken, surely that's the wrong force. Huge play from Kmechova. Oh my goodness gracious me, throwing into traffic. Lucy Hyde. Whew, finding Rachel Naden.
What an action! Beautiful layups, people throwing themselves everywhere. And what a timing from the GB women. They knew what was coming, they knew what could happen, and just kept it in hand, in possession to assure they get that score.
Well, that was a thing.
Oh, did we get a replay of the star jump?
We won't, but we might do later. You can always watch it back. Of course, these games are going to be on YouTube for posterity, for history, for scouting, for just sheer enjoyment. Kmechova with the layout bid just a little bit too far. And Lasma Kublichka also trying to chase down Rachel Naden's scoring cut. So 10-9 to Great Britain.
Now, what is going to be Britain's strategy? What do you think they are going to use against Shout to stop their flow?
So we have about, literally 5 minutes left on the game clock. For Great Britain, I think it's just got to be pressure match defense. Get right in the pocket. Try and put the Italians off balance. Because if you can get a break now, it is capped +2. Here in the finals, it's been +1 for the whole rest of the tournament. So there is a little bit more of a redemption opportunity. As you see, Payne running down on that defense. Baroni with the disc. Already 2 goals to her name so far this match. Bonfante shoots towards the end zone. Bengi underneath it. Good read. Oh, and what a lovely dish into the end zone for Pancotti. That's such a pretty, attractive, beautiful way to score. Yes, please.
That was so nice to see. Beautiful flow. I love the Shout flow. When they get the disc moving, it doesn't stop, and this is magical. This is the beauty of flying disc. The disc always flying, not staying in hands, and everything put together to work as a beautiful tower of Legos when you put each pieces together to reach the top. This is the same feeling.
Well, we're all tied up at 10s here in the women's final. As you see Chris Bamford there, the clipboard maestro, coming off of the pitch. And a bit of info even more Frisbee nerdery. We love the Frisbee nerdery from Desde la Linea even. Flying disc covers the total spectrum of sports for flying discs. Ultimate, disc golf, guts, freestyle, overall, etc. Which is true. But disc golf and flying disc are separate events in the World Games. The next iteration, which will be sooner than you think, because obviously the last World Games was
that was my question.
Briefly delayed. So there we go. Slightly ambiguous answer for you, but we'll get our eyes back on this match. So Hannah Brew, the disc in hand, with a soft wind-up fake, throws a big one over the top to Kwok. One through the cup to Coman. Another of the former Sussex Mohawks, or Hawks now, as to give them their new, much more respectful name. Brew, having played alongside many of these teammates for Brighton Ultimate past. Yorworth, hailing from the north of the UK, dishing one into Kwok. Big fiery inside flake. Oh, that nearly came unglued, didn't it? But finding Erica Neve, the US import. And that will be a good, much cleaner hold.
Slicing it to the end zone. What a quick little sneaky pass. Which worked perfectly. I mean, Shout here putting a lot of pressure on the defense, attacking every disc, forcing them to go for full power to get a single disc. But GB just manages, as well as Shout did before on the offense. They reached their end zone nice and clean.
Yeah, great work from Karen Kwok in that point, actually. Some really dynamic moves. But just a real handler-led set. Not trying to go for any racy big shots, nothing too splashy and flashy. But this game does not feel anyone's comfortably. We're about to run out of time. Circle 1 minute remaining on the game clock. So it's +2 cap rules. So when time expires, you finish the point. So I imagine, unless this is a one-pass offense, we're going to have ourselves
universe point.
Well, let's wait till we get there. But Bonfante with the disc.
I would love to have a universe point on the final.
Oh, who doesn't love a universe point final, especially between two very talented squads. Scazzieri puts one up. That's going to bounce off, but can it be redeemed? Bonfante! Ilaria Bonfante unable to connect on a huge layout attempt. This is a golden opportunity for GB to re-establish the lead that they worked so hard to create over the first half. That one to Gibson. Risky biscuit underneath it. Scazzieri, Wedge. Who's going to win this one? It's going to be Wedge with the burners. Back corner action for Great Britain.
What a great run by Wedge, chasing the disc to the end to keep the possession, to make sure the score is theirs. Great break point by Great Britain. Great. Everything's great. But for shotters who need now to step up, score their offense, and get these breaks back if they want to have a glance at the gold medal of Tom's Tourney 2023.
Well, throwing to the literal back inch of the end zone on that one with Great Britain. We're going to finish this next point. So the offense was indeed quick enough. But it was, unfortunately for Shout, not a hold, not a super score for them. It was a quick turnover and a burn straight to the end zone for Great Britain. So leading the charge 12-10. We will finish this point and then add 2 to the maximum tally. So we could get the full stretch of 15 goals. We could. I have a feeling it might be to 14. Because Shout are going to come out absolutely gunning for this point. But this one plus 2 will give us our final score tally.
I don't think Shouters will leave this point to the GB girls.
Well, they've got a battle against person match defense. It's a high stall to absolutely nobody whatsoever. Hayley Darman, though, look at that, making sure absolutely that no shout players get anywhere near that one.
Brancotti disappointed by this situation. She had a dump on the other side of her shoulders.
But the full stretch required for Great Britain. Brancotti backing her teammates to be able to get the block back and restore the disc to the hands of the players who started off on offense in this one. Payne off the back of the stack immediately, really early doors, a bit of a violation. Chat between Bonfante and Jeffrey as to where that one should be fielded in.
But I don't think there is any stoppage of the game since it's a travel. They shouldn't stop and there is no violation and the game should just be continued.
You're quite correct,
to the
Charlotte.
game.
Quite correct, but players on the field did make it into a stoppage. Just,
I mean, now that there is a stoppage, you get a stop and everyone goes back.
so a little breather for GB. Gibson faking around the world, squeaks out a shot to Denniston. Believe that was for her, but Jeffrey now. Big bladey backhand over the top. Ellie Payne able to readjust the movement. Gibson and Payne, the Spice players giving and going. Van Krieken from Mycenae coming through. Oh, and there we go, another break. A roll for GB into cap. We have a game to 15, but Bologna's shout are gonna have to find something a little bit magical and fanciful and mystical if they're gonna snag the Tom's first spot. So unlike every other game here at Tom's, finals +2 score cap. So we have a bit more oxygen, a bit more room for a redemption story. We saw a near miss of redemption in the open second semi-final, which slightly ruined Charlotte's emotional capacity.
Too much for my heart.
If you haven't watched that game, we won't ruin the result for you. But, oh wow, like...
You gotta go have a look at this. I mean, best would have been to be present here for sure, but with amazing work from Ulti TV crew, you feel as if you were here watching the game.
And I have to say, it's actually really lush today. We've had some inclement weather, a little bit of drizzle, just to kind of, you know, keep perfect layout conditions underfoot for the players in the field, or perfect slip-slide conditions, depending on how you're moving. But it's temperate, it's warm, there's no real breeze to speak of, and the energy is up. The fans are all surrounding the field. Most of these players are now done for the weekend. They've finally done their placement games, and we'll see Kate Gibson with the pull for Great Britain to bring themselves to match point. But they're going to have to take the disc off of Shout to do it. Another look at match defense. Off to the races goes Kmecheva. Easy grab high using the wingspan. And a dish over the top to Scazzieri.
Scazzieri always here to save the day. Great catch above her own player. To secure a point for Shout. Only 4 more to go if they want to get the gold. On the other hand, GB women only need 2 more points. If they keep trading like this, GB will just reach final score first and get the gold. Our shutters gonna show what they need to.
Well, if we cast our minds back to earlier on in this second half, we saw a 3-point unanswered run from Shout. So they've shown us that they are capable of doing it. They showed us that they can ride the wave, ride the vibes, and grab themselves, you know, put the money in the jar and get back into the game. Can they do it in these late stages? They have the pedigree, they have the caliber, they've got the quality of players, they've been in situations like this before. But I can't help but feel at the moment there's players in red just want it that little bit extra. They've got something to prove, maybe. I don't know. But heck, it's not game point yet for Great Britain. Game to 15, 13, 11. the score. And we've got a power line coming out for Shout on defense. Kmechova is going to bring us.
Imagine going to Limerick, playing EUC, knowing you already won Tom's Tourney. This is already a great win for a national team, preparing only the season.
Well, a pick is going to bring that one back, roll back the tape. Yeah, you can't help but feel, though, like you don't want to peak here.
No, for sure, you never want to peak.
You want to, maybe you want to lose here. Maybe you want to lose here. Have a bit of fire, a bit of hunger, you know, close loss. Take it to universe, put yourself, you know, all about that preparation, stress testing your team. But Thompson on the far sideline. Doesn't like the options, calls for something else. Kwok now. Play slipping and sliding all up the field. Cutting so hard under the hot pressure of match defense. That one gets away from Hannah Yorworth, though, a rare error. She's been pretty good on these live stream games so far. Kmechova with a toss over the left hand. Czeszki to Kublicka, 2 Eurostars players. Low one. Marcassini, a casual grab and toss, and it comes out of the hands. Martina Kmechova, oh, no, no, no. Ugolini. This just flat as a pancake, out on the floor. Brew across the clock, second attempt for GB to punch this one in. Things looking a little static upfield, but now everyone flooding through at the same time. Hyde, spin move on the far sideline, going up. No love, no Hyde loves an upline cut. Oh, what an attempt from Hannah Yorworth to make that grab. No dirt on the shirt, but filthy knees.
But she was all alone, got free from her mark, from the defense. It's so unfortunate that she gets such a hard catch.
Well, it shows the pressure that the mark was applying to Hyde. One going up for Czeszki. Brew sitting on that shoulder. Marcassini, one of the 2 Marcassinis on this roster. Erika, oh, it's too low though. I tell you what, they're asking a heck of a lot of Francesca Ugolini.
Yes, she's been trying to save some of these throws all over again.
Oh. Big fall over, stumble on the mark from Czeszki. Still though, not the cleanest of throws from Brew afterwards. Gets away though, no mark at the moment. Tosses it to Yorworth, and that's the goal. And we have a look at our first match point after this little chat between Brew and Czeszki. All smiles.
Takes what it takes. If you want to get the defense, you have to use your whole body and don't think about it. This is the point of defense. You should not think that much whenever it comes to throwing yourself for a defense. I mean, who would like on purpose throw himself or herself to the ground, hitting yourself, breaking your body and all? No, this is the reflex. This is the spirit, the fire of the defense. It can come in any kind of form, whether it is falling or throwing yourself.
So Shout now require a 4-point stand. 15 is the total cap in this game. It has been from the very start. And of course the tally, the time. It would be one heck of a comeback. I might have to roll on the floor afterwards a little bit. But don't go anywhere. This women's final has been...
That would be amazing for a comeback.
Oh, it
reminded me of an earlier game.
Absolutely, but it's GB's D-line to start us off. Can they snag the disc away on this first match point for Great Britain? Championship point, #1. But they've got a whole bucket load if they need them. Pancotti. Bonfante, there's a call upfield. A while ago, players just discussing whether it affected any of the movement around the handle set. I think it will stand, allowing everyone to catch up.
And I'm still dreaming of this universe point. I would really like it to get to a universe point. If Shouters manage to score this one and get the defenses, that would be amazing.
Bengi with a nice bounce move across the front. Kmechova with a lay makes that look very easy indeed, considering the difficulty rating was quite high. Commitment to the upline from Bonfante. Capucci was left all alone for a couple of secs. But that is going to be a lovely lead past Pancotti, chasing it down, and that's good enough for Bologna. Shout, the BFD club, with 3 teams here at this tournament, 2 in the Open 1 division, here in the women's.
Really like how both of them, the 3 of them, use the space and not just aiming at the player, but aiming in front of them for the receiver to have to chase this disc, but leaving no chance to the defense. A really hard position for them to get a hand on the disc. Nice save from Martina Kmechova.
Well, if you want to get your support in the chat, we do want to hear from you. Zitis Malderish has now arrived. Asking the question, can they?
Beautiful catch.
But can they what? Can Shout get themselves back in this game? Second match point for Great Britain, coming out with their O-line this time. A power line for sure. You're with Naden, Hunter, Van Krieken, Hyde, Brew and Kwok.
GB still have 2 points advance, but you would rather finish it off as soon as possible, for sure.
They've got a bucket full of match points, but we still want Universe. But Gaia Pancotti with the pole, big rundown, Rabaglia, and look at the determination of Erika Marcaccini. And it's a zone to get us started. Karen Kwok, smile on her face, looking at the options. A big blade across to Hyde. Hunter. Easy in the middle. This is good flow through the zone. GB players keeping it moving at a good pace, not too much. Lovely lead shot on a serving platter for Hyde.
So close to goal for GB.
Laser on the inside to Hunter. Could it be knocking on the doorstep? A Brown break, and it's a goal! And the win for Great British Women. Oh my goodness, Van Krieken finishing it off with a little bit of sass. Great effort from Shout, but that was quick work from the zone. None of those grindy points from earlier. And 15-12. Great Britain take the championship here. Their first event, Tourney 2023 in Bruges. But Charlotte, as a former Shout player, it has to be a bit heartbreaking to watch your teammates lose. What do you think was the difference maker?
Me, obviously. We didn't even reach finals last year. But difference maker, GB just get that gas on, like, they really fought for it. They never gave up. They gave all they had, all their body, and adjusted these throws that weren't working. And I think Shout should have done the same maybe on some of their throws, maybe to be more consistent, conservative on the disc they had. But in any case, really good game from both teams. Amazing show. Great last layouts from GB for the point, for the game. And the gold medal for GB women, which we will see later in the season in Limerick.
Indeed, they will. They will get themselves, as you, Charlotte, said, a wonderful, fragrant-smelling trophy, hand-carved disc to commemorate their success here in Bruges. It's been an absolute pleasure bringing you this women's final. GB really did make their mark, their presence known in that first half that didn't get to the full 8 stretch, but they took that one 5-6. A couple of breaks back in the second for Shout, but it was just GB all over the place, late stages, with some great adjustments. But hats off to Shout. We'll see them later this season in the club series that we look forward to so much. Of course, they'll be on their way to Wrocław. They got the wild ticket at the spring invite back in Padova, so they will be there for show, as will we, bringing you that coverage. But 15-12, the final score, as the players here, having finished their games, go and get themselves some refreshment. We recommend you do as well, because we will be bringing you in a little while. La Fota versus Mooncatchers, a Belgian-Italian showdown for your delectation. For myself, Hannah Pendlebury, for Charlotte Terrason, for our tireless Ulti TV crew. Like, subscribe, become a patron, but stay tuned for the Open First Division final after this.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Merci beaucoup.
Yeah, Ultimate.
Ulti TV.